Hey guys, welcome back to Community Starcraft 2. I'm your host, Sidewinder, and today I'm bringing you a very cool broadcast from Blizzcon 2011. This is IM'NesTea, the Teal Zerg. He is going to be fighting Naniwa, who's the Green Protoss, here on Shakura's Plateau. And this was one of the many series from BlizzCon that didn't get aired on stream, so I don't think there's many editions of this particular series of games out there, but it is a best of 3 from the tournament. I believe this was from the winner's bracket, so whoever won this advanced and whoever lost dropped down. But nevertheless, we will go ahead and watch these games and check them out and see if they are going to live up to our expectations, considering both of these are excellent players. Naniwa going Forge Expand, but IM'NesTea in particular, I can say this comfortably that he's already got to be the best Zerg in the world. It's really hard to argue with that at this point with his 3 GSL championships and so much prize money. He's made about $200,000 in the first year of Starcraft, so you can't really laugh much at that. But yeah, Naniwa scouting in the wrong position to start off the game is kind of unfortunate. IM'NesTea's going for that 11 pool that we see a lot out of Zergs right now, and he's going to be following that up with a few Zerglings and a hatch on 18. So this build, I'm going to do a little bit of a feature on it here in the near future, but the point of it is that you want to secure as early of an expansion as possible, considering Protoss can lay down a pylon if you go for something like 14 pool, and you won't actually get your hatchery until about 21 supplies. So this is the fastest way to guarantee you getting a hatchery. In terms of Naniwa's perspective, he's going to have to speed up his build just a little bit, and he won't be able to do something crazy like Nexus First, or is he? Looks like he really wants to take it, and yeah, there it goes. So this is pretty ballsy of Naniwa to do that, because the pool is done. And you can see the Zergling production time is 24 seconds. That means in 24 seconds he could be leaving IM'NesTea's base and arrive here well before Naniwa could ever have his cybernetics core done to wall this off. So what I'm expecting here is for Naniwa to drop a gateway and possibly a second gateway right here, just to have it walled off and then cancel his gateway and place his cybernetics core when it comes time to place that down. So I guess we'll see exactly what he decides to do. IM'NesTea is now down here with his 2 Zerglings. He only made 2. He's going to drop a hatchery here, so Naniwa probably getting the upper hand on IM'NesTea and scouting out the build that he likes to do, maybe on this particular map or whatever, but he knew something that we didn't, going Nexus First against an 18 pool. He will be walling this off, it looks like, and he's going to wall a little strangely with a photon cannon in front, and he'll probably just block the rest of this off with a pylon, as he does now have the minerals. But he did also start a pylon here in his main, probably just to fall back to in case he got a little bit of a situation he couldn't handle yet. Here comes one Zergling, and Naniwa does complete the wall with an extra pylon. He can cancel this and place a core right here, I believe. I think there's enough space to wall that off entirely. But this is great of Naniwa to grab this early Nexus, because it grants you such early economy and aggressive economy, the point where Zerg has to either take an extremely fast third or do some kind of really huge 2-base pressure play to keep your either army count down or keep your probe count down. But IM'NesTea, man, he is just a god of macro. You can see his drone count is already at 24, which is very, very high considering you open this 11 pool. Naniwa is going to go ahead and produce a Zealot, keep it out here in front of his wall. He's not going to fully wall this off, so the cybernetics core is a little bit behind with one little space to sit a Zealot on hold position. It looks like IM'NesTea is going to go ahead and take that third. I think Naniwa's scouting probe actually did die to Zerglings poking it to death, so IM'NesTea's in a great position. He has both watchtowers. He will see this probe coming across here, and he can run it down if he wants to, and he does that exactly. But Naniwa is nonetheless going to catch this expansion here, and if Naniwa scouted into the main somehow, he would notice that IM'NesTea is still on 0 gas at the moment, so his speed is going to be really late. You can do a lot against that, such as +1 Zealot timing, which he does have +1, and Warp Gate on the way. So we'll see if he decides to abuse that fast third hatch as it is. But my god, look at IM'NesTea's drone count here already. It's going to be at 35 here in just a second, with more drones on the way, more injects. Queen is now coming down here to transfer to the third as soon as it runs out of energy. And yeah, I mean, IM'NesTea's just running a clinic here on early game Zerg macro. This probe is going to make it home just barely. Oh, it might not. It only has 5 health, and it needs to just run right past this Zealot and have these Zerglings die. So the probe does get home after scouting that. So very successful scout, able to return that probe back home and get it mining. It doesn't look like Naniwa wants to go for any sort of crazy chrono boosted Zealot attack on that third base. So IM'NesTea is handling this very well. Naniwa is responding with a bunch of gateways here. Robotics facility is now finishing up. IM'NesTea is now putting up his Roach Warren, as we can see it here at the natural. Yep, there it is. An Immortal is now on the way, so Naniwa might be trying to hit a really quick just Immortal and Gateway timing. He does have no geysers here at his second base, so he won't be able to do anything like Storm. And just as I say that, it looks like he wants to take both of them. And yep, there he goes. So yeah, kind of just playing into exactly what we're talking about here. IM'NesTea's finally grabbing his speed on his Zerglings, which is really late. Kind of greedy, but I don't think Naniwa is known for being super aggressive in the early game against Zerg. So I think Naniwa is just cutting, or not Naniwa, but IM'NesTea is just cutting some corners here, trying to get out as much stuff as he possibly can, namely drones. He's at 52 drones right now, which is a lot, especially against a Protoss that went Nexus first. At least in terms of the comparison between the two. He's up by 11 workers, and this Nexus finished well before the hatchery. So you would expect Naniwa to have a fairly large worker lead. And this is a weird composition coming down. It's only sentries, only zealots, and only an Immortal, with nothing else really on the way. Like, there's an observer, there's 4 gateways up. Here comes a couple more gateways, so I don't know how much he's going to be committing to this, or if this is just for defensive purposes. But wow, man, IM'NesTea is pumping drones right now. You can see he'll be at about 70 drones here in just a second. Starting a spine crawler here at his third. He does go ahead and start that spine crawler once he sees this small push out, but this push do a lot. IM'NesTea should be able to fend it off okay, but there are a fair amount of roaches versus these 2 Immortals with +1 attack. It's 55 damage per shot, and that's devastating. But if these 2 armies meet straight up, I think Naniwa is going to get crushed. He needs to be kind of careful here, and he needs to separate these the best he possibly can. Very nice concave on the force fields here. Naniwa is going to reinforce with a pylon, but it kind of looks like IM'NesTea just has too much stuff reinforcing right here. He needs to really back off, drop some defensive force fields, but now he's getting caught behind his mineral line, and these Mortals are getting surrounded by Zerglings. More Zerglings and Roaches rallying right now. Zealots do come in here just in time to help clean this up just a little bit. He needs to get energy for 1 force field to protect this Immortal from going down. It's very low on health, 19 health. A couple of really nice force fields, but it dies anyway, so this attack was completely thwarted. I'm not sure if he actually got the cancel off on that pylon, but IM'NesTea winning that fight easily. So very strange opener there out of Naniwa. Here comes the counter pressure out of IM'NesTea. A few Roaches, some Zerglings coming up. They shouldn't be able to bust this because of how easy it is to drop force fields on this ramp. But he's going to continue to put out Immortals. Twilight Council coming down now. I have to think this is for Storm, and eventually just to get into High Templar and Stalker, Blink Stalker more specifically, and Immortals. You can live with that composition forever, considering it handles pretty much anything out of Zerg. But look at this enormous supply lead right now. 44 supply ahead for IM'NesTea. An Overseer is now on the way as well, which we will miss in Heart of the Swarm. Or at least I will. I'm not sure how the other units will fend against that. But very nice force field to kill 3 Roaches for free. So IM'NesTea just donating a few of his Roaches that he doesn't otherwise need. 2 more hatcheries coming down here. Looks like one here is at the 4th, and one here is going to be a macro hatch at the natural for IM'NesTea. Plus 2 weapons, and Blink now on the way for Naniwa. Is he going to throw down that Templar Archives? We'll have to see. He has an okay amount of gas. He only has 4 geysers worth of income, whereas IM'NesTea has 6. He will soon have 8, since he is taking his geysers here at his 4th. So if it gets to a point where IM'NesTea can just afford a lot of gas production units like Infestors, we could see some weird Infestor versus High Templar battles if Naniwa is ever able to secure his 3rd. Here comes a fight at the Watchtower where IM'NesTea just loses a couple more units, but he's still up by almost 40 supply. Naniwa is going to go for phase 2 of this attack. He can get a free Overlord kill if he wants to, and he will kill that Overlord for sure. Doing some fancy micro against that shifty Overlord. But IM'NesTea just has a ton of Zerglings out right now. He's still sticking on this Roach Zergling composition for quite a while, and I know I ignored it for a long time, but there's a Spire now finishing up. I don't know if this is going to be for Mutas or for Colossi. All these eggs are filled up with Roaches and Zerglings, so staying on this low-tech army for a long time. Naniwa unable to land force fields here to trap all those Zerglings, but Naniwa is going to commit fairly heavily to this. This is surprising. It's a very late 2-base attack at 13 minutes versus IM'NesTea, who's going to be on 4 gases here very soon, able to put out pretty much whatever he wants. IM'NesTea's just going to walk right past his army, go for a counter, and see if he can just force a base trade here, which he should win. But Naniwa just blinking right up into these spines. Drones coming off the line. IM'NesTea knows that he has to sack these. There's now Mutas in the sky, 11 more on the way in addition to the few that just popped. There's a lot of Stalkers here, and I don't think that Naniwa is going to have enough to hold this. But the wall at the front door of IM'NesTea is being broken. Very nice force field. Way to pay attention to the stuff that's going on here, but his other army is kind of idle for a second. More mutas are now rallying over to the other base, and IM'NesTea needs to be really careful with these mutas and not fight these stalkers straight up, because he will lose that to +2 stalkers. The rest of his army is now coming over here, and he's going to get a nice surround on this army, but if IM'NesTea can control this ramp with some force fields right here, that'll be huge, and he does. 2 force fields go down, so he'll be able to just zone out this army a little bit and possibly take this first game off of IM'NesTea. As we can see, the supplies are very similar right now, and IM'NesTea just did not take any damage there at his main. Attack is continuing here, and there's a lot of mutas still in the sky, about 16 mutas on that flock right there. IM'NesTea just biding his time, waiting for the force field energy to run out, but there's still a lot left over here, so IM'NesTea is getting a lot of work done with just force fields. IM'NesTea is wisely going to take out the reinforcement pylons. IM'NesTea behind this is banking a lot of minerals. He could be taking an expansion, but I guess he's not quite comfortable with that yet. Here comes the fight. He needs to drop some force fields to separate these Zerglings from everything else and target these mutas down. There may just be too many mutas though, but these blink stalkers are going to be helping quite a bit against that. This is very close, but it looks like IM'NesTea is going to be able to clean this up, but he has lost a lot. IM'NesTea is going to have all of his stuff lost. He needs to just target mutas at this point and get as many mutas as he possibly can. And he is trying to do that to his credit, but all the stalkers die. There's still a lot of mutalisks on the field, as we can see, 14. So only a couple of them died in that engagement, with 3 more on the way. The issue here now, though, is that it's 2 base to 2 base. So IM'NesTea is mining off of 2 bases. They're not even fully mining. He should be way behind in drone count right now. 52 to 38. A couple more zealots left over here. That was random. But yeah, IM'NesTea looking a little vulnerable here against IM'NesTea. The supply still favors IM'NesTea by a little bit, and in terms of army costs, which I never pull up, let's take a look at that. IM'NesTea has an enormous lead in terms of army, so IM'NesTea just needs to hold up here, try to gain a little bit of game tempo, and discover what IM'NesTea is going to do behind this. Like if he's going to take his hatches back super quickly and try to re-macro up, or if he's just going to attack. Mutas are going to come in here and be annoying, but there's a lot of blink stalkers, and if IM'NesTea overcommits here, this is probably just going to end the game. So we'll see what IM'NesTea wants to do here. He's just going to let these pylons die, which is very smart. You don't want to overcommit here, and look out for the blink. Nope, he's not going to blink outside. Again, very smart. You really don't want to get your blink stalkers in a position where you could be fighting mutas and zerglings at the same time, because they take forever to kill with stalkers. Here's +2 flyer attacks on the way for IM'NesTea. That's a pretty rare upgrade, so it looks like he wants to stick with these mutas for a long time. As you can see, 4 more in production. He's going to be at almost critical mass mutas here pretty soon, which these blink stalkers will have to be really careful, and he needs to get +3 on the way if it's not already there. Let's take a look at these stalkers. No, he's only at +1 and +1 armor. I swear he started +2 attack, but I guess it didn't ever finish. Mutas come back in here. I think he might have just lost his forge when the +2 attack was spinning, but still a large muta flock out there. A little bit of just uncertainty here on IM'NesTea as far as what to do. The longer he waits, the more drones IM'NesTea's going to have, and you can see a few drones were distance mining this expansion, but IM'NesTea's main is almost mined out, and he's still just going to be on 2 base versus 2 base, although IM'NesTea's main is also going to be mined out here, so IM'NesTea needs to get brave here pretty soon and decide what he wants to do. He's just sending some zealots out here to scout, deny vision on the watchtowers, maybe hopefully get the mutas out of position so that he can take his third. The other thing to pay attention to here is that IM'NesTea does have a pack of flanking units here on the back, so if he gets into a straight up fight, we could see a IM'NesTea sandwich, which is something that he does not want to have. Here comes the ground units from behind. Going to try and posture a little bit for the surround, or maybe just a counter, but I don't think they'll be able to do much if they try to get in. You can see IM'NesTea even warping in some sentries back at home. But IM'NesTea going back in for the kill move right now. This is very bold with a lot of blink stalkers. They're only at 1-1. He needs to focus down individual mutas the best he possibly can, get some force fields and eliminate as many zerglings out of this fight as he possibly can as well. A lot of mutas are dying. This is going to be very close. You can see a lot of stalkers are trying to separate themselves just a little bit from the rest of the pack so that he's not taking damage from behind. I don't know if IM'NesTea has enough. That +2 on the mutas is really ripping through these stalkers, but jeez, this is a close fight. IM'NesTea has to do a lot of damage here to make this work. There's so many red mutas, and we can see the blink stalkers are now being cleaned up by the reinforcing roaches from behind. So IM'NesTea needed that attack to do a lot, and it didn't do as much, even though I thought he did a lot better than I would have expected. Yeah, these +2 on the mutas are just ripping these stalkers up. even this Stalker is going to die to the one Zergling that's chasing it down. Or not. No, he just lets it live. Okay, he's going to run back after it now. And, oh, wow. I'm surprised that Stalker is still alive. But the counterattack here from IM'NesTea is going to be very deadly since there's so many roaches on the field and no higher tech out of here from Naniwa. The robotics facility is still idle, and you really need those Immortals to fight those roaches, but he just doesn't have the count for it right now, and he can't take a third because now he's lost all map control that he previously had. So whether or not moving out to attack right there was the right decision, it kind of remains to be seen, but I think it was, in retrospect, it was a bad decision. At the time, I thought it was okay. It was just that those roaches did so much damage and he wasn't able to fully zone them out with those force fields. But Naniwa is going to make one more pressure move here. He just doesn't have enough to contend with this army of IM'NesTea. So you can see IM'NesTea's economy should be killing him right now. Almost double. Here comes the attack. He's going to pull a whole bunch of probes here as well. Try to do his best with force fields and probes to eat damage. The mutas are coming in here. These +2 mutas are going to be ripping up these stalkers. You can see Naniwa doing his best to micro out of there, and he has to say good game. So IM'NesTea takes a 1-0 lead in this series. Very intriguing series out of these two. A pretty interesting game, and you can see that mutas are really making a comeback in this matchup. IM'NesTea in particular has been known to innovate quite a bit, but this muta stuff has been going on for a while. The +2 attack was something I wasn't really sure of at the time, but man, it really ripped through those stalkers, and Naniwa just was unable to get an answer out for those mutas. So hope you guys enjoyed that game. Let's jump right into game 2 if you want to just find that video really quickly, and we'll get it started.